Welcome back to the channel, guys. Unconformed here. Let's dive right into it. Today we are going to be talking about three Zubimendi replacements and what the hell is going on with our academy players right now in our academy. It's almost like the destruction of literally everything that Jurgen and Pep has kind of built. We're seeing so many of our academy products go out of the door, whether that's on loan or whether that's permanent with the Bobby Clark news and the Fabio Carvalho news. And I know he's not necessarily a La Oxa product, but you have to say he's one of those young players that was in and around the youth side. He's young. You know, I feel like if even we even lost Harvey, it would have a similar effect. But with Bobby Clark going out, there's rumors about Ben Doak going out on loan. Stefan Bajcetic was supposed to be included in that Zubimendi deal, which we're going to talk about a little bit today, and then some replacements for Zubimendi that I think Liverpool should be looking into. If I was, Richard Hughes, what would I be doing next? What would I be doing with the academy? Who would I be looking at in terms of an alternative to Zubimendi? Maybe these are some of these players that you never even thought of before, but I've been following some of them for a little bit, and I think that they fit the bill of everything that Arne Slot is looking for in his team and in his six, in a six. And I know the way that he likes to play, fast moving, one touch, two touch football, very skillful, rarely loses the ball. And I think these three guys that I have on this list here fit that bill to the T. And then I'm going to be talking about three guys that I feel like we should stop bringing up, like in conversation, as who should be the number six that we bring in, because I do think that we are going to bring in another six before the end of the summer transfer window. Obviously, we're not going to go into the first game with any new signings. Obviously, Georgi Mamardashvili is a deal that is done, but he's going to Bournemouth for the year, and then we are going to buy him from Bournemouth next year to be essentially maybe our number one, which is a whole nother conversation of what happens with Queeving Callagher, what happens with Alisson Becker. I mean, Alisson's 31 years old. He's not even, for a goalkeeper, he's still fairly young and is actually probably going into his prime. There's a lot to talk about. So if you love Liverpool content, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you guys comment down below on what you think. Who do you think they should bring in? Who do you think that they should look at that maybe they're not looking at and they should take a second look to? But join the club, join Unconformed, and we can get to know each other a little bit better and hear some of your guys' ideas. But number one, these are three guys that I think that if I'm Richard Hughes, I'm looking at these guys and I'm maybe even breaking the bank on a couple of these guys, right? And you may be able to get a deal from some of these because some of these names on this list are not names that people would typically hear. Number one, I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with, is Alan Varela. Alan Varela is an all-action style of midfielder. Right now, he plays for Porto, was playing for Boca Juniors. Similar kind of, career path of Alexis McAllister. And I think he is in that underrated realm that Alexis McAllister was kind of in for a long time when he was at Brighton. Could play as an 8, honestly, or even a 10, but absolutely thrives in the number 6 role and is just full of energy, has great passing range too, press proven, almost never loses the ball, and plays a lot of great forward passes because we know that is a style that Arne Slot likes to play. I think he fits into that mold maybe a little bit better than Zubimendi. I don't know if Richard Hughes has even looked in that direction, but I think he is a phenomenal match for Liverpool and to complement the players that they have around in that all-action side. He runs for days. He can press like nobody's business, and he has great passing range, ball control in tight places. I would be really surprised if we haven't had a conversation with him or if rumors don't start popping up with this guy. I think he was out injured last season, so that's maybe something that's a little bit of a worry for him. But if I were to lay out 60 million like Zubimendi or 70 million I would probably put that towards Alan Varela. I think you could probably get him for less, actually, maybe 50 or 45 million. But he is a really, really great option there. And if you haven't seen him play, look up some of the games. And I always recommend watch a full game, watch a quarter, watch a half of a game, and watch him do his thing. Don't watch the highlights. Don't watch the edits because they always stitch in some of his great moments. See the player in full force and how he works in a game. If you're ever looking into a player, Alan Varela, I think he's the best choice. Will he be the guy that we end up going with? I highly doubt it. If we do, you can call me Mystic Mac or something. I don't know. Conor McGregor. I don't know. Something. Because I predict these things. But anyway, number 2, Adam Warden. He's probably going to be one. We all know Adam Warden. This is the highest potential, highest ceiling. Probably more than Zubimendi will ever have in terms of potential of player and ceiling that he can kind of reach. It's like he was born in Spain or something like that. You don't see the technique that he has. You don't see the awareness on the pitch that he has in English players very often. And I was very, very surprised not to see him at least make an appearance at the Euros, given that he got to go. And I think he actually probably could have worked a little bit better in that midfield with Declan Rice than some of the other guys that they went with. But that's another story for another day. Thing is with Adam Warden, he just got moved from Blackburn over to Crystal Palace just last year. His stock is probably at an all-time high. And I'm going to be honest, there's an English tax. We all know the English tax. That's probably going to be an $80 to $100 million deal. I don't think Crystal Palace lets that kid go for very cheap at all. But if you're trying to get a product that is ready and Premier League proven right now, but is also the same age as some of your academy kids, 20 years old, 19, 21, in that range, Adam Warden is the guy that you do. You break the bank on him. He reminds me so much of a Sergio Busquets or a Xavi a little bit, where he's checking left, right, behind himself. He's just taking pictures always on the field. And then when he receives the ball, he's there and he's already 2-3 steps ahead. Similar to Zubimendi, how Zubimendi operates. They almost operate in the same kind of way. You know what I mean? They have a similar style, but Adam Warden is a lot more, you can see it. The eye test is a little bit better with Adam Warden. He's very elegant on the ball, and he can play some really, really slick passes in between the lines, which I think is what Arne is looking for. And that's why Gravenberch is kind of getting a little bit of a nod in there. We'll see what happens with that as well. That's another conversation for the video for tomorrow. And I'll talk about that at the end. But anyway, third, this is a guy that you guys probably don't know. And if you do know, hey, shout out to you. Nicolo Fagioli. Or Nicolo Fagioli. So he's a guy that if you do know him, it's probably not for a good reason. And if you don't know him, please take some time to get to know this kid. I think he's 22 years old. He was out a whole entire year for Juventus because he got caught up in a weird betting scandal kind of thing where he was betting on games. They caught him. He got suspended, similar with Tonali. But off-field problems aside, this kid is special. Like, really, really special. He reminds me a lot of Andrea Pirlo, the way that he plays. And I'm not even joking. If you get some time, look up this kid if you haven't heard of him. He plays for Juventus. They have a really cool little core that they're building over in Juve with Fabio Miretti is another guy. Fagioli is another one. And then Nicolo Rovella is also another player. All three of them playing in that deep line role. They could be Italy's next big three midfielders, extreme talents. And all three of those guys honestly could have made this list. But I think Nicolo Fagioli actually fits the bill a little bit more on what I'm so used to Jurgen, but what Arne is looking for in a midfielder and in a number 6. Press proven. You can't take the ball off the kid. You just can't. Phenomenal dribbling. In passing range, that's almost on the same level as Trent, and I'm not even joking, guys. Check this kid out. He's a wild card for me. And if I'm Richard Hughes, I'm looking in that direction, and I'm offering Juve. We're gonna start at 30. We can go up from there, but whatever the price is, let's get this kid in here. As long as he can keep his nose clean off the field, I think he could be a star of the future, 100%. 3 players that need to stop being mentioned in terms of the number 6 search. And I say this over and over and over, guys. Number 1, Ederson. Ederson is not a good player, and I do not know why I'm seeing so many Liverpool fans Bring this guy's name up in discussion. Yes, he had a great season with Atalanta. Yes, they did the underdog thing and they beat us in the Europa League and they won the whole thing. We get it. But it's one of those guys that he's streaky. He's in good form right now. He is not at the level that we need to replace the 6 that we have right now. Would I confidently sit here and stare you guys in the face and tell you that he's better than Ryan Gravenberch? No. Would I tell you that he's better than Zubimendi? Absolutely not. Would I say that he's a little bit better than Indo? Sure. Right? A little bit better going forward. Right? And I just don't see it, what you guys maybe see in Ederson, but he is not at that level. I feel like that's a cop-out signing if you go for Ederson. That's the equivalent of getting like an Adrian Rabiot, which is number 2 on this list. Adrian Rabiot, he's popping back up now that we lost Zubimendi, and I'm hearing a lot of Liverpool fans who were saying hell no at first, and now they're saying, well, let's just get somebody in. Well, we're not trying to just get somebody in. Right, and Adrian Rabiot, I think he uses Liverpool kind of as bait to kind of get his name up. Every time he's a free agent, every time he wants to make a move, somehow he ends up in some sort of rumor with Liverpool. Don't look into that. I don't think he's a good option. And the last one, which might get some of us up in arms a little bit, let's talk about it in the comment section. Bruno G, Bruno Guimaraes. If we want a yellow card every 2 games, if we want red cards every 3 or 4 games, let's go get Bruno. I honestly, anytime that we've played Bruno, he has never impressed me personally. I'm sure he's a good footballer. I see his stats. They're actually really good, but the eye test just isn't passing for me, and he seems a little bit of a brute, and it doesn't really fit what Arne, I think, is trying to do. But take some time, look into those 3 guys that I mentioned before about the guys that I think Richard Hughes should be looking into these guys at the very minimum, right? Now let's talk about what's going on with the academy. The academy it's almost like a fire sale right now. And I think Klopp's going to come back to La Axa and he's probably going to be like, where are my sons? You know what I mean? Like they're all leaving essentially. And you're seeing a lot of the academy guys put the black and white photo onto their Instagram, which is kind of a little ominous and is spelling kind of doom for a lot of them. And you have to think, that sucks. Yes, it does. But it also is a sign of, I think, what Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes is trying to do with our club, right? And I mentioned this in the Merseyside Monster video, which I will pin at the end of this video, just so if you're new to the channel, that's like one of the best videos that I've ever done. Tons of research into Michael Edwards and what he's trying to accomplish and what I think he's trying to accomplish, and kind of the layers that have gone into why Jurgen Klopp probably stepped away and why he stepped in. Very, very good watch. If you haven't watched it, please watch that video. It's very, very good. But I think this is a sign of what he wants to see happen. That Florentino Perez type of running of Liverpool, the Real Madrid style, where yes, we do have these academy products, but we sell them and we fund the big purchases with these guys. And if you're not up to that level by 18, 19, 20 years old, you're out the door. And Liverpool is now a big club, guys. And we have to start looking at our club as a big club, one of those big clubs where not everybody makes it. Not even the top 1%, not even the top 0.5% makes it in the club. Can you guys honestly tell me that Bobby Clark is getting into this midfield with Ryan Gravenberch, Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister, Harvey Elliott, and then whatever 6 that we bring in? Stefan Bajcetic in the mix. Would you start him over Stefan, guys? Who is essentially our like 5th or 6th choice midfielder? Be honest, you know that's a no. Fabio Carvalho. Would you start him over Gakpo, Lucho? Darwin can play on that left-hand side. Even Dom can play on that left-hand side. Would you start him over any of those guys? Be honest, you would not. So I don't get the urge or the pull to send these guys out on 2-3 loans in a row just to bring them back to sell them when they're 22, 23 years old and you get half the money for them. I get it. There's a lot of heart. There's a lot of sentimental value with these kids. They won us that cup last year, but it's time to make those hard decisions. You have to make those hard decisions if you're a big club like that. And you got to look at it this way. You have to compete not only at the highest level, because you can make it to the highest level and be pretty good, but we're talking about elite football level, which is a whole different other thing. Look at it this way. Look at it this way. Trey Nyoni, who is 17 years old, is playing in the first team. Bobby Clark is 21 years old, I believe, or 20 or 21 years old, and he just left. He just got sold. It's not that they have something against our youth products. It's that if you are good enough, if they feel that you are good enough, and you can visually see it with Trey, he's going to be special, guys. And we all can see that with Trey. That's not very clear with Bobby. That's not very clear with Fabio. Not very clear. I'm not saying these are bad footballers, but it's not as clear as it is with a Trey, who's 17 years old and who's already at that level. Look at Lamine Yamal. Another example. 17, 18 years old. Just turned 17, or 18 or something like that, while he's winning a European competition. That is the level of players that you have to bring into your first team. It can't be the average guy. He's good on the ball. Tell me one trait that Bobby Clark has over someone else in our starting 11. Or Fabio Carvalho over someone else in our starting 11. You just can't. But Trey, he has the ball control. He has the vision. He has the poise. He has the passing range. And it looks like he has a finishing touch. Trent, another graduate of La Oxa. Curtis Jones. Okay, let's calm down before you guys go crazy over Curtis. I know there's a lot of drama over Curtis. Curtis is a good footballer, okay? We'll see what happens with him. Connor Bradley looks like a generational right back. Gerald Kwanzaa looks like a diamond, right? Harvey to a degree, right? He came in very young and played around the youth team as well. All of these are products of La Oxa. This is great work done. This is like 6 or 7 players that I have written down here from our academy that has gone on to be first team players or starters or crucial players into our team. Our academy is still working, just not everyone is going to make it. So am I saying FSG in or FSG out? I don't freaking know. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes? But I can confidently say the people who are running our club and there are boots on the ground every single day, they're doing what they can. And I think they're doing a pretty damn good job. You look at our depth chart, we look good. Do we need 1 or 2 signings? Absolutely. Hopefully it's some of these guys on that list. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Tomorrow, I'm going to be dropping a Premier League prediction video of where do I think we're going to finish and what do I think the result is going to be for the Ipswich gang. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below. What do you guys think the results are going to be? Who do you guys think we're going to bring in before the end of the transfer window? I don't know, but I appreciate all you guys for tuning in. Everybody who subscribed to the last video, I appreciate you a whole ton, and we will see you on the next one. Peace.